So what were we talking about? Monkey brains and progress, Nazis, the Pope.
I'm forever going to regret that we didn't record the intro of us talking about brain transplants, third person real life camera, and Russian experiments with interspecies relations.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
The Nazi scientists, the Pope was in there. Like all these things came up in this conversation. It was
that's the thing is we have to make a podcast about some kind of scientific ethical absurdity movement that we can dump all this into, because I'm sure there's like 1,000 stories of how humankind has gone too far in the past.
But then we're going to run into the problem where everything that everybody wants to hear already exists as a podcast. Is that podcast good though? That's the question that I would like to have, because surely we can find one called Unethical Experiments, the podcast.
That's one of the reasons why I think that our DBZ podcast is so successful, is because from a production standpoint, like I want to say we're the best it's ever been. I don't know that for sure. Of the ones that I previewed before we even started this show, we're pretty damn good.
I've spent some time recently actually listening to a series of other DBZ podcasts, just thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, where do we stand up?
I actually didn't know this. What are your findings?
I listened to a series of them. There's one called Kame House Party, which is a good name. That's a good fucking name. I'll give you a good name.
It's pretty good.
But I cannot listen to your podcast for longer than 30 fucking minutes, which there's probably a lot of people that feel that way about this podcast. There's different strokes for everybody. Sure. Everyone on there comes in and they're like, hey, my name is Charlie and I'm hosting a podcast. Hello, my name is Steven and I'm also hosting. Like they're on the fucking radio. Which, okay, fine. That's a thing. That's totally fine. I respect the fuck out of that. But it's not my vibe. That makes sense. Even though I have one of those voices, it's not my thing. I don't know.
That's your everyday voice, which I've been jealous of for a really long time.
I'm somewhat flattered. We should have kept talking about Nazis and the Pope and brains. And
that was legitimately, I mean, I'm having a good time no matter what, but that was legitimately more interesting on an intellectual level, and it's never recorded. It's gone forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Every one of our fans, all two of you, are going to have to pay us money to recreate that conversation on our Patreon.
Which, speaking of our Patreon, main number one shout out to the big boy top 2 motherfuckers on the Patreon. It's Tyler Hyatt, it's Spencer Feuerstein, back at it again in the house once again, back at it again.
I just wanted like a rap song to appear magically out of that.
I don't know why I
did
it
I mean?
Like that.
And I don't have anything to follow it.
Okay.
No. Oh man, I was gonna sidestep into something else. Do we have any phone messages?
Oh my God, we fucking do. We got another phone message.
Yeah, we've been saying for a long time that we'll just put these in random episodes, and they always appear during the mailbag. So I thought I'd bring it up. I was pretty sure we got one.
Thank you for fucking reminding me, because yes, indeed, we are bad at this. But we remembered this time. Spencer did. And we have a message, and this is the part where we're playing the message.
It's gonna be in the episode right now.
Hello, my name's MJ, a longtime lurker, I guess, as John said, first-time caller. I just wanted to call in and say that I really love the show and everything. I kind of, like Eric, got into Dragon Ball Z because my fiance loved it a lot, and I would make fun of it. He made me watch Abridged, and I could tolerate the characters that way. I guess a question I had for you guys is, how do you feel about female fans in Dragon Ball Z? Because I've gotten a lot of weird interactions from cosplaying as both male and female characters. All right, bye.
And there it was.
Hang on, let me fucking find it again, because I have to actually listen to it in real life.
This is probably one of the best questions we've ever got, because it is normal.
First of all, thank you, MJ, for your message. And I hate to have to say this, but you know the answer. No girls allowed.
Get out of here.
We can't. Did you see the sign?
Did you see the sign on the treehouse?
Oh my God.
No girls allowed with a Z.
I'm 100% fucking wrong.
I was going to say, like, it I don't want to sound sexist, but I guess it kind of is, because growing up and everything, if you watched anime, you were a dude. And then in high school, if you watched anime and you were a girl, all of the anime watching dudes that have grown up being friends were suddenly turned against each other in some kind of like primal tribal warfare to win the affection of the anime watching girl. Did you get that kind of thing growing up?
No, I had a very different experience. Most of the girls that I knew in middle and high school that watched anime, or let me take that back, most of the people that I knew were girls that watched anime.
Interesting.
Like
what was there a difference in shows or anything?
No. It was One Piece,
pretty much the same.
Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, just all that stuff.
See, that seems like a more harmonious sort of utopia where people can just be people and it doesn't matter what kind of gender or, race, creed, religion you come from. I prefer that, but the environment that
reality
I grew up in was not that.
A lot of the time was not that. Yeah. And that sounds honestly like what you've run into, MJ, because the reality is this space is full of really socially unkempt individuals that they just...
I mean, if you couldn't tell from our interview with Eric Vale a couple times.
Yeah. They just don't know. And it's fine, but also it's not, because it's fine to be that way. And then it's not fine to impose that upon others.
Do you think that there's people out there that like men with no, the same type of no social decorum watching like ER and Criminal Minds and shit? Or does anime particularly funnel that type of person?
I think it does. This is a thing that I've wanted to talk about for a while.
Oh, well, you're welcome then.
Thank you for the transition. Maybe we talked about it with Eric Vale, but I don't remember if it ended up in the thing. Anime has its own visual social language, which is very easy to interpret, versus our own social language of body language and tonality and words. There are a lot, especially in English, there are a lot of little tiny things that are very difficult to pick up on with a lot of people, especially people that happen to be on the autistic spectrum. Those things are just more difficult to pick up on. And in anime, it is very clear cut and very measured and very obvious. And so anime becomes this medium, this place where even people that aren't on the spectrum, just maybe have difficulty with social cues, can identify how things should be. This is the normal way that things go. When you're feeling embarrassed, you get the teardrop. And it's always the teardrop. And it's universally understood throughout every anime. That's what that means. Even to where it just has become normal in society. So I think a lot of people that are really socially awkward or have difficulties interacting with other people in general are drawn to anime because it is this very clear-cut type of communication. But because of that, a lot of the time you're going to run into people that have difficulty in the communication, and then this sort of thing occurs. Or they're just creepy dudes, because those exist, just like creepy women exist. And then, you know what? That's fine. It's fine in either direction. Just don't impose it on anybody else. That's all.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. But as far as your question is concerned, MJ, I think fans of any gender, creed, ethnicity, religion, whatever, should be able to enjoy the show on the same terms. But stereotypes and like anime culture in general has kind of skewed that, so that a lot of people on the outside looking in think things that are not necessarily true about the genre and the show, et cetera, et cetera.
This is fucking hard, okay? Because first of all, we should have acknowledged our bias as being dudes in the beginning. Because,
well, of course we're biased.
We're super fucking biased, and this is the only perspective that we have. But, okay, the person that you are currently dating is an anime nerd.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not talking to MJ. Yeah, but different anime.
The person that I am currently dating is also an anime nerd, but different anime. And they're just fucking people, you know? I don't know how to fucking comment on this. This is too far above me.
People are people, and we're just one big happy human race family. Is that what you're saying, John?
That's not the answer, because it's well known that there are less
Hitlers.
There are Hitlers, and they're typically men.
Isn't that weird? There hasn't been like a big deal female Hitler.
Catherine the Great was pretty shitty. This is a difficult question. If we want to spend the next hour and a half going into the socio-dynamic problems between male and female issues, we can. But for this podcast, I feel female fans are fantastic. And I'm happy that they love Dragon Ball Z as much as the male fans, because everybody should just like the thing they like, and then what's between their legs shouldn't fucking matter. That's the answer that I would give for Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
I agree with that answer, but I will say if 3 people ask us to do an episode on the socio-dynamic gender, whatever the fuck John just said, then we'll do it.
I will. Like, I'll sit here and talk about it. I have no problem talking about things that I have no reason to talk about. Or standing.
If you want to hear 2 white dudes, roughly middle-aged, just go on about what you should be feeling as a specific category of... if you want to listen to us tell you how you should feel about whatever, anime, Dragon Ball Z, life,
or you want to have fuel for hating us.
Yeah, if you want us to get canceled,
ask us more questions like this.
Yeah, email us at mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com. You can also call us using the phone number. Is it 385-DARE-1-OX?
It is. I was hoping you would remember. Oh, you got it.
Memorize that bad boy. Got it in my brain.
Or if you want to hear us talk about race, we actually already did that. We did that a bunch. The last Eric Hates, the whatever saga, we did it for like 35 minutes, and I haven't cut it together, but we have it.
This is just shit that we have no authority. But like, does any one human have the authority to go over topics like this? It's just too big, right? So why not pepper it in among fun anime talk? Anyway, MJ, thank you for your call.
Seriously,
very appreciated. Super happy to hear that you cosplay male and female characters. My girlfriend does the same, and it's cool.
Yeah, I don't think cosplay... This is hard for me, if only because I have very specific feelings about cosplay. Because
you've only cosplayed Captain Picard and Krillin?
No, I cosplayed fucking your mom once, Spencer. Oh God, I'm sorry. Cut that out.
You don't even know my mother. Actually, you do. You met her.
Oh, I do. All right. No, because cosplaying, on the one hand, you should be able to cosplay any character you want, regardless of what they are, what they're representative as in the show. You can wear their clothes and then you cosplay as them, whatever. But then you remember hearing our Eric Vale interviews. They mix up that guy who looks nothing like Trunks as Trunks. So those people are going to see you as this character that they have formed a deep parasocial and personal relationship with. And then they're going to put all those feelings onto you. So when you cosplay as the thing, you just have to know that's going to happen. You want to just have fun and dress up as a thing that you have a relationship with. But
you're drawing in everybody's relationship with that same character all around you.
Yeah. And so
which could be good or bad.
Right. It sounds like, oh my God, we're basically saying they're asking for it by the way they're dressing. And that's not what I'm saying.
I know.
That's like, you can take that from what I said, but what I am saying is that is going to happen, unfortunately, because of how sociodynamics work. Because you're also entering this space where a lot of people don't have the greatest social skills, and that's just going to happen. Even people with great social skills, that's going to happen with. I mean, it happens with totally normal people. The instant that their significant other dresses up as a thing that they see, they're like, oh, now it's sexy time because I associate these feelings. But I don't know.
Like, I will say, well, first of all, I like cosplaying as characters that I look similar to because it's easy.
Because it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And a few times I've done like the 10th Doctor, David Tennant from Doctor Who, which is very dated by now. But it goes both ways. Like,
you can pull that off, though. I can see that in your face and your hair.
Thank you. You can be unfairly ogled, but also when I did it one time, there was a 3 or 4 year old girl who recognized the character, the David Tennant's Doctor, and she was like shouting, as I was walking by, that I was the Doctor, and like her parents were with her, and they were so happy that I took a picture with this girl, and she was just like mesmerized. It was lovely and magical, and like it's like when you're in Disneyland and you're a kid and you see Mickey Mouse or Goofy or Donald or whatever, and it's to be able to give that to a child is pretty damn cool. people will graft that relationship with that character onto you from a very wide range of ages and genders and perspectives.
Yeah.
And you just have to be prepared for
All
the
of it.
unknown, essentially. Yeah, because you just don't know how people are going to react. And it's not your fault. It's just you got to prepare for it.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people go into it with that in mind. I think a lot of them come out of it having had a not so awesome experience and then have to contend with that experience, which is shit. It's shit that's how it works. But that is shittily enough how it works.
Yeah. Sometimes things in life just kind of suck a little bit. Oh my God, we're so off track.
I realized
it's been a half an hour.
And this is going to cut down to like fucking 5 to 10 minutes, probably.
Hopefully. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
And last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, because we did this out of order. It's okay. Apologizing up front. We haven't done this for like a month and a half.
It's been a really long time.
It's been a really long time since we did this. And last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, the tournament broke and now we're here. This time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. My name is John.
That'll make an intro. Today we're going to be talking about episodes 220 to 224 of Dragon Ball Z. We'll get started because we are half an hour into this thing with episode 220. Off. The Japanese title is The Man Behind the Curtains Appears. The Evil Midoshi Babidi. Is Midoshi the Japanese word for wizard?
Midoshi? I know the Japanese word for green is Midori, but I have no idea about wizard.
He is green. The American title is The Wizard's Curse.
My episode title is the one where there's a dead kid. Just like a dead kid on screen for like a second and a half. Just a dead child.
Oh my God. This episode, it does a lot of legwork. My first note is I feel like that teapot gets bigger every time we see it. The Yama and Spavopovich are flying to some unknown location. They've got this device that they've stolen energy from Gohan with, sucked it all up into a genie lamp. And there's a random cut to some dinosaurs living on a volcano.
Yeah.
That Spopovich and Yama just blast past. They destroy their babies, and the parents are panicking, picking up the nests and stuff. Then our heroes fly by and avoid that entirely, showing that these two truly are evil, disrupting the wildlife. Although I'm curious if these two are like this. It's been so long, but are these the two dinosaurs from that circus episode?
I don't remember.
They seem similar.
No, they do, but also wasn't one of them a different color than the other one? Like one was pinkish and the other was bluish because they're mommy and a daddy and traditional. I don't remember.
Traditional gender roles for dinosaurs.
Oh, which would be funny because they're both blue in this one, which means that it's a gay marriage, gay relationship of dinosaurs
with babies they adopted.
Then we get a really neat panning shot of the Z fighters as they're flying. The Supreme Kai, wow, his face is drawn in such movie quality.
I'm glad that you noticed that because I also noticed
it's so good. It's so well drawn, and it's because for the next 2.5 minutes, it just sticks on his face as he explains things to the gang.
So they had a chance to like fix. They do this a lot. They'll end an episode with a bunch of stuff. And then start the next episode with the same amount of stuff, but different. Whether it's by like visually or whatever. But they talk about Majin Buu, big badass planet, solar system destroying ultimate evil creature. And that the Supreme Kai is gathered to fight this ultimate evil. He was still in an egg, so they just left him and thought it was good enough. They had a chance to fix that, and they didn't here. But they do later, and it's very strange.
They didn't change
the first time they retread it, which is right here, they don't change anything. The second time they retread it, 5 minutes from now, they do change something. And I just can't, these whole 5 episodes are fine, but they start pushing on the brakes a little bit. And stuff is elongated like more than it should be. The pacing is kind of off.
We're back to regular Dragon Ball Z now. The pacing feels off because
it's normal.
And the pacing before was so fucking good that it makes this seem worse. This is roughly the pacing that the Android and the Cell Saga was, and I think we loved that because it wasn't the pacing of the freeze. I think Dragon Ball Z really is just an exercise in setting your expectations properly. Anyway, there is one moment that I want to mention where Supreme, I'm just going to call him Supreme because I think it's funny, says, as is often the case in this universe when talking about Babidi, the son is as evil as the father.
There is a lot of foreshadowing for stuff going on with Vegeta.
Yes, but then immediately afterwards, he outright says he's able to wield the evil in the hearts of men. Imagine if someone truly powerful came out under his spell.
Yeah, this is talking about Babidi and his ability to possess or influence evil hearts.
Yes.
Essentially, it's a Kingdom Hearts thing.
Yeah, they're trying to explain why Spopovich and Yamu are so fucking powerful now. And it is because Babidi can take that little bit of evil and amplify it a billion-fold so that they become super powerful. So imagine, whoa, what if he took over Piccolo? And Krillin makes a joke. Well, Piccolo was a bad guy not that long ago.
I do like that they did that because they were like, the only people that can defeat Babidi are hearts of good. Like people
Pure
that are hearts of good, like all of you. And Krillin's like, wait a second, what about Piccolo? And Piccolo's like, shut your fucking face, Krillin.
He does say that. He says that in the episode. It's my favorite part of the show so far. But I do like the red herring of throwing it to Piccolo.
Obviously, there's somebody else as a contender, but the show doesn't make mention of that.
Yeah, like logically, Krillin should point at Vegeta and say, because
Krillin never had to fight Piccolo, and he definitely had to fight Vegeta, but it doesn't happen.
But as a writing decision, it's a good one. I also have to say, I'm not actually liking Krillin with hair in this shot because his hair is whipping everywhere out of controlledly, whereas the Saiyans' hair is thick, canonically really thick, and hardly moves as they fly.
What,
Krillin's hair
Krillin has like
stringy.
a thin hair problem.
Krillin's plugs are really shit quality and they fly everywhere and I dislike it. And then this is so dumb. After they're done going over this with Supreme Kai, it's Krillin, Vegeta, Goku, and Piccolo. And Gohan. Nope, not Gohan yet. Because they cut to Gohan, who then goes over this again with the red guy.
Gohan's flying with Videl and Kibito. They're behind the Z Warriors. The rest of the Z Warriors, rather. And they just rehash that stuff. The only thing that's cool here is that Videl is like flying weird. She's got like her hands up on her face as she's going along. And there's just something up there. Then we cut back to the Z Fighters. And finally they rewrite canon a little bit so that this makes fucking a little bit of sense. They say that, okay, Majin Buu, terrible, evil, whatever, has to be summoned by Bibidi, a wizard, to come out, and then Bibidi can repackage Majin Buu into, we find out later it's a ball, just a ball, after destruction has been wrought. After Bibidi encased Buu in an egg or ball again, Bibidi was defeated by the Supreme Kais. Supreme Kais looked at the ball and said, oh, that's good enough. And they just left. But what actually happened is they were afraid that if they blasted this egg with all of their power, they would unleash Majin Buu once again. There would be nobody magical left to contain him, and he would wreak havoc across the entire universe. So they were like, we shouldn't mess with it because we could cause more damage than good.
Good try, DBZ.
They tried a little bit.
They tried, and I want to give them the try points because they did. So we cut back to Videl and Gohan, and Videl is just having trouble flying this fast. Kibito says, we got to pick up the pace. We're not going to catch up in time. And Gohan says, right, give me a sec, and then turns to Videl because he's noticed Videl's having some trouble and says, hey, are you dying or what's happening here? And Videl says, dude, I can't fly that fucking fast. Like the bugs are getting on my mouth. I don't know how you're doing this. It's getting in my eyes.
I learned yesterday.
Yeah. Like a week ago.
This is maybe my favorite scene of the 5 episodes because it's really the only character moment that we get.
It's a good scene.
It's Gohan and Videl, and they're talking about how Videl's going to fly back, but like it evolves from there into essentially Videl finding out that Gohan was the kid that defeated Cell, and Vidal's dad really had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And now 7 years later, Gohan is going after a new big evil, and Vidal wants him to be the hero again, so she's going to go back and kind of get out of his way so that he can do his hero thing. It's a very sweet little scene, really well voice acted, and I loved it a lot. It was a nice moment between these two characters, and it kind of solidified their relationship moving forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Vidal decides, all right, I'm going to go back, and stops flying. Gohan really takes off with Kibito. They go crazy, blast off at Mach 40,000.
And she's like, go and be a hero again. But in Japanese, the subtitles say, I want to date you and stuff.
I was going to bring that up. I have a note on this too. So
it's really good.
Yeah. She says in Japanese, when you come back, Gohan, I want to date you and stuff. And then in English, she said, you better come back because I'm not finished with you yet.
Which is a much better line.
So much better in English. That was so much better. So Gohan catches up. And then we cut to a weird alien dude who looks a lot like, we've seen this race of aliens before. I think there was one of them called Kui, like the Frieza Force soldiers.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
That's where I knew it was familiar. I wrote down in my notes that it reminded me of like the Xenomorph Frieza form.
Yeah.
But it's way closer to Kui, and the name also matches that. So.
Yeah. So we see this weird alien dude, the M on his head. Steps out of looks like a shed, like a weird Frieza
It is.
shed.
It's just a shed in the middle of nowhere, like a weird guru house sort of structure. Yeah.
And meets the two Swole brothers, Spopovich and Yamu. Everybody takes cover behind a rock. This, I think, is funny. Supreme says, get down, everybody hide. So everybody hides behind a rock except Vegeta and Piccolo, who just fucking float out in the open because they don't care.
Well, and like, honestly, at this point, I'm done. Our heroes are so powerful at this point. We know what they can do. They're all there. None of them are incapacitated. It's not a world-ending threat at this point. Why are they hiding behind rocks? Why does Supreme Kai want to keep them leashed? Just let them go and let them do it.
You want to see them Superman in and just, hello there,
just
beat the shit
take
out
care
of
the problem. Yeah. And I really want a scene where Vegeta and Piccolo just go ham on the villains, because they don't seem the kind of characters to just wait behind rocks. So I'm happy that pretty shortly, both of them actually they won't exactly do it. But anyway, this is the part where John's title kind of comes to fruition. There's the base of operations for the villains is, like we said, it's kind of like a tiny little thing poking up out of the ground. It's made in a crater as if it came down from space. Supreme Kai calls it a spaceship. Just to the like east, whatever of that, like barely down the road, is a small it's
like a farm.
Yeah, and Gohan spots the home, and then the 3 bodies outside of it that have been killed. I really like this because nobody mentions it. We just know that the villains are villains because within spitting distance of their base of operations, there was a family. So they killed the family. And there's the bodies of the dad, the mom, and the kid. And it's a nice little somber moment. And it seems like only Gohan is aware of it. I really liked it.
Excellent.
It's very effective.
It is. I made the joke throwing it in the title, but it's maybe the second best moment of this episode next to the Videl Gohan conversation.
And then we cut to a commercial. There's new music, and it's fucking insane.
It's pretty bonkers.
It's just the synthwave, very different from the original, but I heard this song 10 times in preparing for this episode, and it was noticeable every single time.
It's very weird. It's a very weird change. I do love the new transition, though. The new not ad break. What is this called?
It's kind of like an ad break, but this was introduced last season. The actual visual. It was. The new music doesn't kick in until this season.
Every time it shows the animation,
it's better. It's way better.
It's so much better than the Goku is holding Gohan, and they just stare at
Goku's holding baby Gohan, but now it's Gohan and Videl and Goten in various situations, driving a car and things like that. Just fun. Yeah, it's great.
Is this where Babidi comes out? Or
yes, so they introduce Babidi, but not only Babidi, also another character named Debura. They step out of this guru's house sort of facsimile, greeting Yama and Smopovich, who have come with their energy teapot.
Everyone freaks out at Debura.
Debura is like this giant, he's the devil. He's a giant pink strongman devil that wears a blue coat that shows off his chest.
Easily the most attractive DBZ character so far.
I really like his voice. It's kind of James Earl Jonesy.
God, it's an attractive voice too.
It's really good. And he's supposedly the king of the demon realm.
He's the king of the demon realm. That's right.
Which, here's my thing. Wasn't Piccolo Sr. king of the demons?
I'm not even gonna. Because I don't know enough about Piccolo Sr. I haven't watched Dragon Ball.
Okay, but I thought that was the thing. He was King Piccolo. I thought he was a demon.
Okay, he's the demon King Piccolo. He's not king of the demon world.
Oh, I see. He's the demon, King Piccolo.
No, he's demon King Piccolo. There's no comma, but he's not the king of the demon world.
He's king of the earth demons?
He is demon King Piccolo.
He's a demon king, not the king of demons.
Thank you. Yes, you got it now.
Okay.
That's not confusing at all. I don't know why we had to go over that. So Debura's introduced. This is where we're starting to get a little convoluted. Supreme Kai says he is king of the demon world. And then someone says, there's a demon world? I'm guessing it's Krillin because I use that voice. Which, by the way, there's a moment where Krillin, after Debura is introduced, not needing to read the script, since Supreme Kai seems to be the one doing that this season, and having no one to Senzu Bean.
Goku's like, yeah, maybe you should get back to your wife. This is kind of big boy stuff. And Krillin's like, yeah, my wife would be pretty mad if I died here. And he just sticks around.
They talk about him leaving, and he says, I'm going to leave, but then he doesn't. So anyway, it's explained that Debura is king of another realm. So there's like Earth, and then there's Demon Earth. Debura is the strongest of them all in that realm.
Yeah.
And
apparently this is just like common knowledge
among the Kais, I guess. And that's as good of an explanation as you're going to get, because that's all we got.
Anyway, so basically the premise is there's this evil frog tiny man.
Yeah, let's describe Babidi. We haven't described the Babidi at all.
He is Yoda if Yoda were pure evil and had a weird voice.
And
which,
yellow.
if you know Yoda, is funny.
And then Debura's just the devil. Like, imagine the devil, and then that's Debura plus a blue suit.
Babidi is the son of Bibidi, which is hilarious. Babidi can sort of get evil people on his side, and he does it through temptation. Like, hey, I can sense evil in your heart. Again, the Kingdom Hearts thing. Grab onto that and increase your power and make you better than you were if you work for me.
But you have to be my bitch, though.
But you have to be my bitch.
Right.
And they're like, okay, so we got the devil to agree to that. And so long as everyone fighting this guy is a good person, we won't have to worry, right?
Right?
Right, Piccolo?
Right, Piccolo? Right, Piccolo? Only Piccolo? So the two dudes with the M's on their heads, the veiny motherfuckers, give the bottle full of the giant tea kettle, which at this point has achieved maximum girth, to Babidi. And Babidi's like, well, now I don't need you, and proceeds to, with magic, blow one of them up. And this was kind of grotesque. I was expecting more blood.
It was super gross. It's also the oldest trick in the book, where the new villain takes out the old villain to show how powerful he is. He like expands him, and he's like bleeding out of his nose and his mouth, and then just pops.
Yep. And then the other one, Yamu, freaks out like, oh my God, how could you do this? And tries to fly away. And then the alien person.
He does look like Kui, but it's a little more demented. His name is
Pee-Pee, right?
His name's not Pee-Pee, but it's Pui Pui.
It's Pee-Pee.
But his name's Pee-Pee. Just holds his arm like he's holding a shotgun, and boom, Yama disintegrates, and that's the end of the episode. So the big thing is, oh my God, we're facing a villain that's willing to kill his own henchman. What the heck? We've never seen this before.
How could they possibly do that? Kill the people on his own team? Look, if it's not obvious, audience, we're beginning this train wreck right here.
The first couple episodes weren't great. I think that there is enough interesting stuff going on by the end of it that I'm okay.
I agree.
But yeah, it's not nearly as good as it was.
But it's a loss of the love that I had for that previous arc.
All right, I'll be right back. I just need like 2 minutes.
Okay, it's the mid-episode piss.
If you want to do it, you can. But
no, I'm just enjoying the fact that you, like, probably the last 6 episodes, you've had to go right in the middle of recording. It's becoming a regular thing now.
Well, it's because we talk for an hour and then we hit the record button and I'm drinking the whole time. And then 2 hours into it, total, I'm like, oh man, I could go to the bathroom right now.
You're right.
We hit a nice, decent pause point. We still got 4 episodes to go. I don't want to wait any longer. I don't want to be rushing through this, giving poor quality content to the fans because I got a full bladder that I'm concentrating on.
I want to give poor quality content because I'm really trying my hardest.
Because, yeah, exactly. If I'm going to be bad, it's because I tried my best.
That is the best thing that has ever been said on this podcast. I fucking love that so much. Please make that a shirt. That's fucking amazing. Now go pee.
All right, I'm sorry for the delay. I am back. Episode 221, the Japanese title is The Awaiting Trap, a challenge from the demon realm. The American title is King of the Demons.
They got the title right, that one.
King of the Demons, not Demon King.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's important. Yeah. It's an important distinction. My title is Debura, more like the booty. So first thing I need to mention is if you listen to this episode with the English music, with the Falconer score, the music that they have here is so incredibly similar to track E1M3 from Doom's 1993 soundtrack.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
It's called Demon's
If somebody
Waltz.
knows what you're talking about, email us because I want to talk. You are the new co-host of this podcast.
It is. Because you're done. Because you're giving up after all this. We had a 5 mentions of Doom limit, and I've hit 8. And you're done. You can't handle it anymore.
I mean, it's very cool. Who was the composer for the original Doom?
Bobby Prince.
Bobby Prince had nothing to do with Dragon Ball Z.
Wow. Yeah, shove it down my throat a little bit more. I will make a fucking compare. I will draw the straight line between any DBZ and Doom point. You watch me do it. It's because they use the exact same, the Microsoft generic Windows sound font, the Falconer score. They also use that same pluck sound, and that also does a very similar progression of notes.
I did like it though. I like the score used in this. It's more like magical. It's not like a magical score, but it's more of a like a mystical
little
sort
bit.
of.
Yeah, there's like touch of mystical in there because with the Supreme Kai stuff, it was very mystical. This one's nefarious, but also mystical.
And as we hear this new score kick in, we kind of know. Oh yeah, new bad guy.
Yeah, right. These are the bad guys, and so the bad guys, Babidi and Debura, discuss that they know the gang is hiding right there.
I really liked this scene. Mm-hmm. It is just 2 people talking to each other about a bunch of information that the audience already knows. But the fact that the villains know the exact amount of people, where they are,
and that Supreme Kai is there,
the number of people that they can actually make use of versus the number of people that they don't have any need for, they come up with this plan. And you'll see this back and forth going on throughout these episodes where the good guys are just as informed and capable as the bad guys.
Yes.
And it feels really cool that it's different enough from what we've seen before where they're trying to outsmart each other using strategy almost.
The strategy of how many muscles do you have? Yeah.
As much as Dragon Ball Z is capable of doing something like this, there is a Game of Thronesian intrigue plot happening. The bad guys are talking about the good guys, their positions, what they're capable of. The good guys do not hear the bad guys talking about this, but based on what the bad guys do after, they have enough information to create the next part of the plan and the next, and the next, and the next. And it just kind of keeps going like back and forth between the 2.
Yeah, this is probably what happens next. My favorite scene in all 5 of these episodes, because it's a Dragon Ball Z fight, but it's executed really well. It's very well paced. And it kicks off with Babidi going back inside the ship with Pee-Pee. They both go back downstairs. Debura does this really slow turn and smirk, and he melts my heart, and then teleports right in front of
Kibito, puts
his hand right on Kibito's forehead, and before the gang can even react, erases Kibito. Kibito's dead now.
It's really good. I in the moment I was so enraptured. It's great. What a fantastic introduction to a villain.
Yeah.
On the other hand, why Disney just delete everybody?
Well, they said they could use 3 of them.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, my monkey brain needed a sec to catch up. You're absolutely correct. This is the actual process. When I was watching the episode, I wrote down that note. I think this is really cool. My next note was, but why doesn't he just delete everybody? And then my next note was, oh, right, they had this all planned. And I went through that exact thought just now as we were talking in real time, because when I was writing it, I was sober. And when I'm talking to you now, I'm not. We've heard them plan this all out, that 3 are useful, the others are not, but we have to keep Supreme Kai alive because Babidi specifically requests that. And Debura does his fucking job. And it might be the first time that a henchman performs that admirably in Dragon Ball Z history.
He retook it just to fuck it up again.
So he takes out Kibito immediately. Doesn't need him for the plan. He spits. I hated this, but it happens. He spits on Krillin and Piccolo.
Yeah, he spits on them. He spits on Krillin and Piccolo when they turn to stone. That is what happens.
He does those 3 things, and he's like, you idiots, you're not going to follow me in here. Moo-hoo, ha, ha, ha. And then he flies into the spaceship. Our heroes, not knowing that this is the plan all along, but Supreme Kai kind of mentioning that it's the plan all along and them not caring. Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta are like, oh, what does Vegeta say? I have the quote written down. It's
Vegeta
great.
Is the one who actually tries to stop and speak to Supreme Kai, who's like, out of our many virtues, patience is not one of them.
Like, he knows what's going on. He knows exactly. And as an audience member at this point, I'm thinking Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, they don't know what they're getting into. Clearly, this is season 8. There's a new villain. They're more powerful than Cell was. They're being cocky. It's unwarranted. They're going to eat face in just a second. And they should have listened to Supreme Kai.
Eat crow?
So they eat crow, eat face, lose face, lose crow. They're going to lose crow in just a minute. And they all fly down into the spaceship, which I'm excited for because we've only seen this little nubbin poking up out of the ground.
Yeah.
And supposedly there's much more because it was buried when it came to Earth to hide its presence from Kibito and Supreme Kai when they got to Earth to investigate.
Minor
so
note,
Vegeta,
before they take off, Goku learns that they can change Krillin and Piccolo back by killing Debura.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing that kind of gets Goku on board. Well, Goku and Gohan on board with Vegeta's like, let's charge in and
let's
just kill
fucking
him.
Murder him, yeah.
Which is, if we murder Debura, if we kill the devil, then Krillin and Piccolo are going to be fine. But if we try to like battle Debura and Babidi in typical Dragon Ball Z fashion, we're probably just going to destroy them by accident when we're lifting up our pinky.
Right.
Because rocks break all the time when we battle. So, yeah.
We've
so
never
we're going
had
to go into
care
this
about
ship.
the stone around us before. And now we do. They're
But now
so
we
good
do.
at killing it.
Yeah, so now we're going to go into the ship. We're going to fight. We're going to kill Debura, and then Piccolo and Krillin are going to be fine. Great. Yes. It establishes the stakes for our hero. It also establishes the competency of the villains because they've dwindled their numbers down to just the people that they care about. Yep. Nobody's outsmarted anybody. We're all on equal ground. It is kind of dragged out due to pacing and will continue to be so, but I like what they're doing here. It's good stuff.
It's the best opening play that Dragon Ball Z has ever had with a villain.
Yes.
The closest one is the Cell introduction fight against Piccolo.
That's what I was going to say.
It's the closest one.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Better.
This Cell also felt like a smart villain, but this is somehow better.
Yeah.
So they are, of course, being watched by a crystal ball by Babidi as our heroes descend down into the bowels of the spaceship.
Just cute.
Supreme Kai is absolutely pissed.
Yeah, Supreme Kai hates that they're just going right in.
So justifiably annoyed that these Earthlings, these non-powerful, inconsequential Earthlings, are just descending into the trap of the most powerful people in the universe. These idiots, And Pui PP, he's waiting on the interior of the ship, which is kind of just like a dome. It has a very similar feel to
the inside of Frieza's ship.
Yeah, to the inside of Frieza's spaceship.
PP does explain that they're about to enter video game rules.
It's so bonkers.
Yeah,
because they say it's stage 1.
It's stage 1.
Saying it's stage 1 means that you think that you're gonna die, right? Because there's a stage 2. If you were good enough to beat, then there wouldn't be a stage 2 and there wouldn't need to be a stage 1. But this is stage 1, but he's still super confident and they've entered a video game realm. Basically.
The rules are they have to get past each stage. And once they get to the final stage, that's where the boss is. That's what they learn. That's how it works.
They can't blast the floor because if they blast into the floor, They might wake up Majin Buu,
Right.
who's asleep in his egg, and they don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that. That'll ruin everything if Boo wakes up. There is a cut really quick to the Otherworld tournament, or not the Otherworld tournament. I wrote down Otherworld tournament. Sorry, it's the actual World Tournament.
Some of these cutaways are fine, and some of
Agreed.
them are completely unnecessary.
Agreed.
It's basically a chance for Toriyama to insert jokey Goku as a kid sort of humor.
Mhm.
A lot of it revolves around. There are a couple good ones, I will admit. When Johnny, not Johnny Firecracker, when the World Tournament announcer being pelted by soda cans and like popcorn bags and
This
stuff
one.
for delaying the show so much because 6 of his contestants just flew off for no reason. I like that.
The crowd is basically doing what you do every time a tournament gets canceled.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
they're just
Every time a
pissed and throwing
Magic the
stuff.
Gathering tournament gets canceled.
I knew you went to those. You fucking lied to me. There is one random character line where some lady screams, "Hey, ref, get a job." It's like, "Hey, pizza boy, hey, plumber, get a job." It's just a term that we don't say anymore. In the 90s, saying "get a job" is like a thing that you would tell somebody who is being lazy or being a bum or whatever.
Yeah, the hoodlums. I feel like every time the English voice actors do the ancillary sort of peanut gallery audience lines, they're just having as much fun as possible. Like,
Yeah,
they're just
and you can
fucking
tell.
around.
You can feel it in the voice lines. But in the actual show itself, the production, the decision to put this even here at all, it throws the pacing of our gang getting into the bowels of this ship off.
It does. That's the disappointing part, because as much as I'm okay with more World Tournament stuff, it does, like, you've got me, right? You hooked me in with the Bobbity stuff, and I want to see it play out. And because you keep cutting back and forth and dragging stuff out as long as possible, it's dividing my attention and it's making me lose interest. It's not as tight. It's not as well done as the last season, but we do cut back. So they've entered
Stage 1.
They know they're in stage 1. They know they're going to fight, but they're Saiyans. So of course they're not going to do the smart thing and all fight together. They're going to do one-on-ones. Who's going to fight the first opponent? Well, they're going to decide that by playing rock, paper, scissors.
3-person rock paper, not as egregious as 4-person, but still.
But also, this is where this fun little plot line starts. Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta don't think that this is anything.
Uh-huh.
They honestly probably believe that it's a waste of time.
Yep.
Babidi, Debura, Supreme Kai, they're like, this is the ultimate end of the universe battle. And our guys, the ones we've been following since the Saiyan saga, are just like, bitch, please. And it's kind of the best thing ever. Vegeta says the best line, which is scissors wins.
Dad Vegeta comes through in these episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And Supreme Kai says, you don't really intend to fight him yourself. And Vegeta says, of course I do. What other way is there? Which is exactly the mindset of the entire Dragon Ball series. We learned that in these rooms, these battle domes, energy released through fighting is funneled into the Majin Buu egg.
It's actually,
so there's this,
maybe not in this episode, but the next one, it's explained by Babidi. You have to cause pain to the humans.
It's not just free flowing energy, which doesn't really make any sense. It's energy caused by pain. Anyway, it all funnels into this weird egg. And if that egg gets enough energy, it will hatch, and Majin Buu, the demon destroyer universe imploder, will emerge. But anyway, the energy that they grabbed from Gohan in the World Tournament ends up fueling the egg by 50%, which is just flabbergasting to Babidi and Debura, which is actually really important for later. It's just, it doesn't seem feasible that anybody on Earth, he actually says, I don't remember if this episode or not.
It is this one. I don't know how many hundreds of people Yamu and What's-His-Face had to kill to get this, but maybe I shouldn't have killed them if they were this efficient. Like, Babidi is convinced that this is energy from hundreds of people.
And we know it was only one. Vegeta wins, and he gets the right to fight PP.
Thank you.
Goku and Gohan look incredibly confident as Vegeta steps up to the plate, and Supreme Kai does not. That is where the episode ends. We jump right into episode 222. The Japanese title is Don't Toy With Me! Vegeta's Breakthrough First Strike of Fury.
That was a good read.
The American title is Vegeta Attacks.
My title is PP Smash. So the intro has more information about Bobity's ship than the previous episode. Did you notice that? There's a cutaway of Bobity's ship, and it shows the top little shed up top. And then there's the...
Is it the cross section?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually love that. I'm really happy that they did that. It's kind of cool. They use it as sort of a map, like a video game map, and they just show the whole damn ship in a cross cut. It's really interesting.
Oh my God. I love it because I have the hardest time mentally picturing the geography of the Dragon Ball Z battlefields. And this one
I think half the time they don't even care. Like they don't even try to do it. And this is one of those rare times while they reused assets quite a bit, they do actually like create a structure and plan it out from a story perspective where our heroes are, where the villains are, and where they go as these episodes progress. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah. We pick up immediately with the fight. There's no like standing around and talking. PP
which I love.
Oh, it's so good.
They don't retread anything. Yeah. PP just comes out and tries to kick Vegeta. It's great.
Yeah.
There's a little PP going after Vegeta, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my God.
It's a stupid name for a frankly scary looking character.
Yeah.
They did a good job on the character design.
They did.
And then tossed it in the trash by naming it.
Pui. This fight occurs, and it's exactly what you think it is. PP is overconfident, tries to fist Vegeta, and Vegeta dodges it consistently.
I really like the animation of Vegeta dodging.
Oh,
because it's not the typical like 3-frame Vegeta's body disappearing and reappearing in different spots. It's literally just him standing and moving his face and chest a little bit, and it's really cool. They did a really good job showing that he just doesn't fucking care and is not intimidating by this guy at all, and he can't be hit.
So Babidi is seeing this on the crystal ball and begins to sweat a little bit and asks Debura where PP fights best. This was a little confusing to me at first, but it's all made clear when Babidi uses his magic to change the entire place that they are fighting to PP's home planet.
I'll tell you right now, none of this makes sense.
The next episode, I'm going to talk about it. Oh my God. So magic is bullshit.
I admire that they're bringing it in at this point in Dragon Ball Z because it's like a new form of enemy that all of their training has not prepared them for. It doesn't matter that Babidi is a Yoda raisin. He will kill them because he has magical strength, and it's not something that they prepared to defend against. Right now, they are facing the same old physical whatever, so it's fine. But at least that there's like a just little seed planted that there's a villain coming that will bring something that our heroes have not faced before.
Speaking of something our heroes have faced before, on PP's home planet, the gravity is 10 times stronger. And
I
PP,
love this so much.
I did too. It's such a good setup. It's almost a joke. I don't know what you would describe this as.
It's like a payoff to a setup you didn't even know was happening. That happened 6 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah. So the gravity is 10 times stronger on PP's home planet, and PP gets really cocky about it, lifts up a rock. And by the way, they're just there now. They're no longer on the ship. They're just on the surface of some planet.
It seems to be the case that they have all teleported via magic.
That is what it is.
To this planet.
It seems like. But it doesn't help that the background just kind of fades. Like they don't actually teleport. We've seen teleports.
There's a lot of things wrong with this, and we'll get into some of them later.
And PP's very confident, and Vegeta says, 10? I don't even feel it. It's the way he says that. And you're like,
it's really good.
Oh, fuck, it's good. Vegeta does this thing to PP, and I call it
sorry, I don't know why that one got me, but it was good. That was good.
So Vegeta does this thing that I called the titty blast.
Vegeta's done it before, right? It seemed really familiar.
Here's where it's familiar. Have you ever played Dragon Ball Xenoverse?
Yeah, of course.
Vegeta's AI constantly grabs the player character. And the grab in Xenoverse is this from the show. And I didn't know where this grab came from because I played Xenoverse a bunch and then don't remember this scene in the show. Vegeta gets up real close to PP and puts his hands right on PP's chest and then blasts him to smithereens. Just annihilates him. There's a second and then blast. And that's how it is in Xenoverse, which is really fucking strange if you're playing a female character like I always am. And that's it. PP is gone. PP is history. PP is done.
PP got flushed.
Mid-roll shout out. This is the part of the episode where I have to pivot because I'm so upset to talking about our patrons who have hit a certain tier on our Patreon. I'm glad I'm the one talking because you were just cracking up.
Sometimes we make good jokes.
Was that one of them?
I don't know. It's up to you.
It is up to you listening. And so we're going to shout out Eric White, Dan Shaw. It's been so long since I've gotten the chance to do this, Dan. Dan Shoo. Might. Lori. Artex, the creator. Andrew Winden. Spencer Feuerstein. Tyler Hyatt. And don't worry, I didn't forget. We got a new one. We actually have a new one in Eric White, too. Your name is similar to our podcast person's name, Eric.
We have a Spencer, too.
Yeah, but we've said Spencer Feuerstein's name enough that it's burned into my brain. Versus Eric White. I'll do it twice because I didn't realize you were new, but now you're new, and so I'm going to do it twice. I just really like this name. Oh, Noe Zoe.
That's pretty good.
It's really good. It's really fucking good. I like that a lot. Thank you so much for choosing to support us, helping us with this bullshit, getting quality jokes like PP got flushed. That's what you're helping to create. Congratulations.
You did this.
That's the mid-roll shout out. Titty blast, right. So the room turns black. The room turns back to normal and they advance.
Yeah, I love that like when they go back to Spaceship World and the hatch opens up in the floor and they just all jump down. It's like they're at Disneyland. They're so excited.
To
get to the next ride. And Supreme Kai is just like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, Supreme Kai is fucking floored by what's occurring right now. Supreme Kai is very confused, but just following along for the ride.
And Bobbity is not happy.
We cut to Bobbity and Debura, who say that they can't believe there's somebody this powerful exists at all, because when they investigated the planet 300 years ago, there was nothing like this back then.
And they shouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of change.
Mm-hmm. They are immortal, right? So maybe they just live on a different scale of time,
I think but it just shows kind of like how incompetent the villains are. They're smart and they obviously know what's going on, but also they can't think in terms of
small scale
mortal men. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, it's not their incompetence. It's like you were saying before. They're looking at big picture stuff. They're not seeing the important 300 years that have occurred. They don't care about that because they didn't think they had to. And then we cut to the world tournament again. And this is one of the ones that we could just skip.
It really, like, I just don't care. It's a lot of the world tournament stuff is focused on Goten
and Trunks.
Goten and Trunks as Mighty Mask, two kids stacked on top of each other. They go to get juice. They hang out with Eric Vale. It's just nothing. Basically, the world tournament is in chaos, and we're waiting for the event planners to come up with an alternate strategy. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Ox King shows up,
away.
And it's just filler. I want more time to establishing the villains of this arc. It's a new season.
Just stop crashing your pacing. It's not just, okay, here's the thing, right? When you're making something like this, you do probably want to check up on what's happening outside, especially in a serialized television program like this. People will have forgotten that there are other characters that are existing in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Okay, so you cut to them, you give them 20 to 30 seconds. Don't spend 5 fucking minutes on them. On the other hand, that's kind of what they have to do because they can't spend 20 to 30 seconds on them. So they give them a little, not even like a B plot, like F fucking story where they're fucking around in the showers with Eric Vale. That sounded weird because we're talking about Goten and Trunks.
Yeah, but it happens.
That's kind of, it's not like that. They're really just hanging out in the locker room. 2 young boys hanging out in a locker room. It's totally normal. And Eric Vale doesn't even ask questions about it. He's like, oh, I see that you 2 young boys are in this locker room with a guy in the shower that I can't see. Okay, that's fine. Because they say they just want Hercule's autograph. And you know what? That's good cover. All of that occurs.
Okay.
So cut back.
We get to see the first appearance of Yakon. It's stage 2. Goku steps up to fight. He's like, I'm next, guys. Don't worry. Bobity's like, send out Yakon. Yakon is a Rancor.
Is it? Yeah, 100% Yakon is inspired by the Rancor.
It's like a giant, sort of amphibious, long-armed, big-mouthed
He's not even that
creature.
big. He's like a
He's
large
bigger than
creature,
Goku, but he's not super big.
He's not,
Yeah.
like, huge. And so two dudes open the door. He eats the dudes, and then that's it.
I love it. It's like an homage of like the Jurassic Park raptor scene.
Yeah.
Where the raptor gets out of containment and starts like chomping down on the. Anyway.
If Jurassic Park hadn't come out 3 years after this episode of Dragon Ball Z, yes.
Yeah. Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta are not worried at all. Like at all. Goku's stepping up against Rancor, and he's happy about it. Supreme Kai obviously is not. Babidi is assured of his victory. I think it's interesting that the show at this point is choosing to deal with power scaling in a way that's like acceptable in universe. Does that make sense? Like the characters that we know are getting more powerful to a ridiculous extent. And so you bring in characters that are supposed to be like this sort of otherworldly, godlike figures that know everything about the universe, and they are surprised by how powerful these stupid Earthlings have become.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The show is acknowledging how ridiculous the show has become up to this point. And it's saying, yeah, we let our characters get very, very powerful to an absurd degree, but we're not going to change that. Let's just have the people that are above them be surprised that our characters are, in fact, that powerful. And let's let them be that powerful. We are going to introduce people that normal people in this universe, even gods, are like, no, you can't defeat that. That our characters are going to be like, bitch, please. And then they proceed to prove that they are, in fact, that they can, in fact, please the bitch. I actually loved that because at season 8 of a show that has continuously had villains and heroes get more and more powerful, what do you do when a flick of the wrist can destroy an entire planet? I think the answer is something like this. And I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I really appreciated our heroes are just like, no, I'm not too worried about it because we fucking trained for 7 years and I can just do this and the opponent's just dead. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love it as a framework. I think I want to know what Supreme Kai's been fucking doing the last 8 years of his life, not paying attention to what's happening.
It does seem like God is a little bit incompetent. That's the only detriment.
Yeah, but he's cute though.
It diminishes the competency of Supreme Kai.
Yeah.
By making Goku,
question,
Gohan, and Vegeta exactly.
Yeah. How supreme this Kai really is.
But it also calls into question, like, if they are more powerful than Supreme Kai, like if they're surprising Supreme Kai, there's literally nothing that can stop them. So why do we even care about watching this show? Because they're going to win no matter what. There's pros and cons.
Yeah. We'll see as time goes on if that also remains fucking true.
Yeah. So Goku versus Rancor, end of episode.
Yes. Which last thing, I like Rancor's little arms, little T-Rex arms. He waves them around.
I wrote that too. Yeah, like he's trying to be intimidating, so he moves his arms around like rawr.
He just rawr. Yeah. That's it.
It's very cool. Yeah, I wrote that down as well. So that's the end of that episode. Episode 223. The Japanese title is Goku's Power Wide Open. Blow away Yakon. The American title is Next Up, Goku.
My episode title is the one where they bring back power levels and give it a new coat of paint, but it still tastes like shit.
I don't hate what they did here.
What? Okay. You see why you say that? We'll have a conversation. So we start off with a really nice establishing shot, honestly.
I love this establishing shot. Yeah. We see the Piccolo Krillin statues. There's a little lizard that climbs up Krillin's leg.
Yeah.
Krillin's stone leg. And for some reason, it's like, I don't know how they did this, but it feels like really depressing.
Cold.
Like a little forlorn, cold. Yeah. Like it's just they're rocks now. These characters are just rocks.
It has something to do with the clouds coming up over them, making them dark.
This show is so smart. Sometimes
visually,
with the way that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really, for these 5 episodes, it doesn't have a lot of impressive cinematography, It's got a couple, and this is one of them.
Yeah. So we cut to Yakon, who is just all kinds of saliva.
Oh my God. I am impressed by the detail
Of the spit.
that they went to like make sure that every scene with his mouth was dripping with spit.
And more.
It's
like more
crazy.
every time. It's like every time they cut back to him, he's getting hungrier and hungrier. Kai Supreme says he is one of the most feared creatures in the entire universe, which adds more to they just don't know shit about Earth.
It's at this moment that I noticed that he also looks like a Battletoads.
Oh my God, you're right. He does. He really does. He looks exactly like a swole Battletoads dope. Also, it's at this moment that I realize Bobbity is just helping to clean up the trash of the universe by collecting them all and bringing them here for the gang to murder, just one after the other.
Goku's a little resistant at first to fighting Yakon. He says, why'd I have to get this guy? Sure, he's big, but he looks kind of dumb to me.
Which is just rich.
Just funny.
Good job, Goku.
I wish that Supreme Kai was a little less, there's no way you guys can do this, because he was that at the beginning. And I wish that as this progressed, he was more like at this point.
Watching it in a row like this, it makes him seem naggy and annoying. I don't like
does.
that.
He needs to say like, I don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Yeah. There we go.
These guys are so unpredictable. Like, he needs to be in that midpoint where he's not quite on their side, but he's definitely not like, you can't do this, because the stuff that he's seen up to this point is incredible. This is the thing that like is changing his worldview for the first time in maybe ever. Like, he needs to be a little bit less, there's no way you can do this, because his worldview is shifted at this point. Anyway, he's not like that, but should be. Yakon steps up. He's got these like blades, this organic sort of Wolverine claws. Scyther, yeah, exactly. Pop out of his forearm. He cuts Goku, but he doesn't really cut him. He just like slices the top layer of his uniform, his gi. And Goku's like, hey, that's mean. And Yakon's like, I'm going to eat you. Bobbity comes over the PA system, gives Yakon a little bit of a pep talk. And he does the thing that he did for Yum Yum, PP
Yum Yum,
where he's like, I'm going to give Yakon an advantage whether he needs it or not. We're going to his home planet, because every creature in Dragon Ball Z has home field advantage, apparently. So they go to Planet Dark. It is a planet that has a name in the Japanese subtitles and not at all English. Has a name in the English.
The Planet of Darkness.
I will give them points for like how they showed this planet. It's like blue and black sort of smeared paint.
Yeah.
They still have a way of communicating like, hey, there's a rock here, there's a cliff here, there's whatever. And Goku is fighting because he's next up in this unseeable habitat.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And Yakon is just like, no problem, I'm from here, jumping up and down, getting on the ceiling, whatever. And then Goku's like, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to turn Super Saiyan and use that pretty old light that comes off of me to illuminate this whole planet, or at least the section that we're in.
Can I just say, before he does that, he's able to fight Yakon perfectly fine. And that kind of upsets me.
I disagree. I think it was great. I think that as soon as the light goes away and they're stuck on this dark planet and it's regular Goku versus Yakon, my brain, and I wrote this down in a note, said, you can sense power. Like, you've done harder stuff than this before.
Right.
You should be able to just sort of figure out roughly where he is and fight back.
Yeah.
And he does as regular Goku before he goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And then they explain it. Goku can sense his movements by the subtle vibrations in the air. And my problem with this is they are on a weird alien planet and the air is definitely not the same. So my gripe is stupid.
Are they though, John? Aren't they on the same goddamn spaceship that they've been on this whole time, and it doesn't even matter that the contrasts have been changed?
It's a stupid nitpick, I realize. And
no, I think it's fair.
We'll talk about it. And right fucking now, finally, we're here. Here we are. So Goku turns Super Saiyan, and Bobbity has like a Dragon Radar-esque odometer for power. And he says, what? He's emitting 3,000 killies of energy.
I like that different races and different segments of this universe have a different level of power scaling. I don't know. It just makes sense to me that they would like speak different languages and stuff. We've had this like cemented version of what a power level means since the Saiyan saga. So I don't know why they're introducing it now, but I really admire that like it's an alien race from a different planet. So of course they would view power differently.
I like this other race having a completely different system of energy. I'm upset that they're bringing up numbers again because they were doing such a good job of dealing in tiers of power. And now I don't want them to put numbers to it. If they're just immediately going to throw those numbers away, that's my gripe with it.
So Goku trips on a rock in Dark, which I really like. He fights Rancor, and then he's like, oh, I don't actually need magic. I can go Super Saiyan. I can do this. I can do that. I'm going to appear behind you, and Rancor's going to say, where are you? I'm going to eat you. And Goku's like, no, you're not. Eat this. And then he blasts him. They cut back to the tournament. It's fine. I kind of like that they're showing that the crowds have sort of shuffled out.
Oh yeah, that's kind of fun.
There's just like a couple stragglers like laying down, taking a nap, like waiting for something to happen, while Trunks and Gohan eat. They try to sneak out of the eating place because
they have no food, no money. Rather,
I know it is, but like judging by what we've seen before, isn't it free for entrance of the tournament to eat?
That's true. I was thinking that because they were in the tournament, and
that was my problem. Because like Goku and Piccolo and everybody like ate for free,
but they don't count because they're kids. I don't.
But they
know.
were in the junior. Fuck it. They run off. It's very funny. Yakon eats the Super Saiyan energy from Goku. Goes back down to regular Goku, and Goku's like light bulb, and so he goes Super Saiyan again.
Do you notice when he's getting the power sucked, the music goes backwards? The music plays backwards. The music plays
that's
in reverse.
Cool. I didn't notice it. That's very cool.
Anyway,
Goku gets the bright idea. He's gonna go Super Saiyan again.
Right idea.
Everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing, Goku?" Goku's like, "Bitch, please, I got this." He's generating energy. That energy is siphoning off into Rancor, but also into the air where Majin Buu can grab it. But Babidi says, no, it has to be
pain
energy siphoned off from pain and battle. So this doesn't count.
I know.
For some reason, and Yakon dies from gluttony. Goku keeps powering up and powering up. Yakon eats and eats and eats, and then he explodes. And it's kind of great. Whatever. The point that I wanted to get to is once they finish this, they're still on the darkness planet. They're still on the planet.
Yeah.
Very obviously still on the planet. But because Yakon's defeated, they get to go to stage 3 of this video game. And a floor opens up underneath them. The ground of the planet turns into the floor of the spaceship, and they can descend into further basemented parts of the spaceship. But they are on another planet. So it can't be magic that teleports them to the planet. It has to be some kind of facade created by the magic.
But then doesn't the background also dissolve out?
No, it doesn't. I watched. It is the space background. It's not the blue and black smudged darkness of space. It's the Goku powering up, emitting light so that you can see space all around them, but is definitely space and the rock of the planet and not Babidi's spaceship.
So Babidi has the ability to change the atmosphere and gravity of the ship that he's has.
That's the only thing that I can think of. It's like the holodeck. I don't know what Babidi's magic is doing.
I don't know either. That's really what I want to know, because it drips off of him when he casts it. He's clearly doing something. Goku kills the big bad guy. They move on to stage 3, and there's a cut as they're moving down to stage 3 of Supreme Kai's face, which is extremely memeable. Like it's his face is
pretty good.
Unbelievable incredulity, but it's also drawn really badly. A lot of the art is really bad in these episodes. I don't know why, but some of the art's pretty bad.
They have a couple pockets of really impressive stuff, but for the most part, it's not.
You can see, you can see like where they on the scale took money out from this scene to put it into the other scene. And then Debura decides, all right, look, I'm not playing around with these fuckers anymore. They are killing all of our best dudes. I'm going next.
That's basically how it ends. It's going to be Gohan because Vegeta went first, Goku went second. Yeah. Gohan's up for a one-on-one fight v. Debura. Episode 224, the Japanese title is A Great Miscalculation, Satan versus 3 Super Warriors. The American title is Battle Supreme.
I suppose, that was a bad start. My episode title is DBZ PUBG.
It pretty much is. I hope that we get better as the season goes on because really it wasn't a great start. But this episode wasn't bad.
This episode, I didn't mind this episode because they chose which section to focus on.
I love that the characters are making fun of the show's reuse of assets as they descend these floors of the battle tower.
Mm-hmm.
They go down and down and down, and they get to level 3, and Gohan's like, why couldn't they have sprung for something a little bit more, different? This looks exactly the same like the other 2 floors. But like the show is the show, right? They could have drawn other room. Like I don't
drawn anything, but they didn't.
They drew it the same so that they could make the joke that it looks the same. In a live action show, it would make way more sense because it would actually save money. This isn't saving money at all because they still have to draw it. Well, it's weird and funny, and it
is saving money because the backgrounds are different than the actual movement of the characters. Backgrounds are drawn differently.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe changing the color is cheaper than just
way too costly.
Than changing the lines, but I don't know.
They picked white, so it's cheap. That's what they did.
Yeah,
so
it struck me as funny.
I do like that Supreme Kai puts down that we should all fight together from now on. Let's stop putting this chance.
He keeps trying to restore reason.
Mm-hmm. And Goku just says, nah.
Like Supreme Kai is right, but at the same time, he doesn't understand that these 3 people are stronger than he ever could have imagined.
Mm-hmm. He's just a boomer. He's just stuck in his old ways, his old boomer ways, and he won't adapt. So Debura decides to go to the meditation room before fighting, which
to prep, I guess. Like, what can you do in 30 seconds that's actually going to matter?
I don't know. But as soon as Debura goes in, it does cut back to the gang, and Gohan says, "How long are they going to keep us waiting?" Which leads me to believe there's supposed to be understood time gap there, but I don't know.
But you got to be careful about how long you make the audience think they're waiting because Goku literally only has 24 hours on Earth, and he's wasted. Like, it's got to be at least 4 to 6 at this point.
Yeah, but they didn't bring it up yet.
And we cut back to the World Tournament. The Ox King shows back up into the bleachers with Chi-Chi and Bulma and Marin and Oolong and Quar and all those people.
Oh, yeah, Little Marin. Oh, my God. For a second, I was like,
Little Marin.
No.
Yeah.
Different Marin.
Little Marin. And when he sits down in the bleachers, the camera shakes.
Yeah. He's fucking huge. Master Roshi detects energy somewhere, a huge energy.
He's kind of keeping track of the battle between Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, and whatever else. He's sort of like sensing, hey, they're over here. I hope they're okay.
I like that he's still somewhat relevant.
I do like that too. I really enjoyed that he wasn't like the, pervy Master Roshi, and he was
the Master Roshi that we enjoy, the wise, sage kind.
The tournament peeps, the sort of
I don't know. They run the tournament and they
run the show.
Gear.
They're in the same uniform and all that stuff. They're talking about how they're going to salvage the tournament now that so many of their participants have run off. And Hercule finally steps up to address them all, including Eric Vale, the World Tournament announcer. And he says, I got a great idea. Let's do all 5 remaining contestants in a battle royale. They're going to step up to the ring at the same time. We'll all duke it out together. Last man standing wins. After a long, drawn-out process, it is agreed upon that that's the way it's going to go.
And one of them calls out Mr. Satan. Yeah, if you or anybody else, I would have thought you were insane because since you're the champion, they're all going to be going for you. It's going to be 4v1, you big dumb idiot. But no, you're the champion. So, of course, you thought this through. And Mr. Satan's like, ha, ha, ha. And then it does the cut thing where it shows his true emotions and he's dying on the inside. I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah. Mr. Satan goes into the ring. 18 comes in and gets catcalled because, of course, she does. In this universe, of course, she does. Mighty Mask comes in next. Killa comes in, and finally it's Jules.
Mighty Mask is Gohan or Goten and Trunks.
Yes, the kids in a trench coat. Killa tries to collab with Mighty Mask, but can't fucking speak English words, so that goes over really poorly.
I can't believe the voice, because the subtitles that I had on, he does have dialogue.
He does have dialogue, but in English they just chose to.
I want to know who that voice actor was. And the road to that choice for the character, because if I was really watching as a kid, it's literally unintelligible.
Right.
I have no idea what that character is saying.
I wouldn't have gotten it as a kid. I think it's fucking hilarious as an adult.
It's hilarious. It's very funny, but he's Boomhauer but worse.
But so much worse. You can't understand. He literally makes weird noises and then says one word that you understand to Trunks, which is champion.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the subtitles, you would have no fucking idea.
You would have no idea. It's crazy. Also, I love that they cut to the crowd at some point during this, and there's like signs for Jewel and signs for Satan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one in particular that says, "I love Satan," which is my favorite.
So good.
And it's a blink and you'll miss it thing.
Mm-hmm. 18 gets creeped out by Jewel because Jewel comes in.
Yeah, Jewel's like asks her out.
Yeah, how about
says,
you
hey,
bow
why
out
don't you just, let
me take you on a date.
Forget this millions of zenny you could win.
Yeah. I am worth millions of zenny. A date with me, Jewel.
And it's the epitome of cockiness, yeah.
18 gives him the most Y7 fuck off creep that I've ever heard, which is great. So Hercule is concerned that they're all going to jump him. But now Killa is pissed off at Mighty Mask for not helping out take on the champion with him. Jewel is pissed off at 18 for rejecting him because Jewel has never been rejected in his life, which I find hard to believe, if I'm being honest. And the bell rings immediately. Both Killa and Jewel are knocked out because they dive the two respective fighters,
so
and
fast.
They're gone. Fantastic. Eric Vale gets back on the horn to announce, we're back off because we just got two knocked out immediately. Who would have guessed that? Oh my God. Hercule then gets way overconfident and has a little imagination off with himself and imagines how he's going to take out the remaining two and throws up the V for victory in the air in real life because in his head, he's just imagined himself winning the tournament.
Yeah.
And then drools, which is just, I forgot how much I liked the character that they've created with Hercule Satan until this moment.
He's good. The only real point worth mentioning here is that while 18's fighting, of course, the adults in the crowd, Chi-Chi, Bulma, Ox King, etc., don't know that Mighty Mask is Goten and Trunks. So the only one that they are really allowed, quote unquote, to root for is Android 18 because she's part of their sort of family, whatever.
Right.
Go 18, go 18. And the camera cuts at one point to 18 as she's hearing this from the crowd. And you can see just a little bit, like she blushes just a little bit, as if she's proud to be rooted for by a family. And it was like a moment that I really enjoyed, like just these small little character moments. So good.
18 doesn't get enough moments like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking going in. And I'm super glad that they got like at least one in these 5 episodes. But she gets this moment with her daughter and then a moment with like the gang at large. And it works really well.
It's fantastic. Mr. Satan dives in to try and punch the kids in the adult costume. But 18 and Mighty Mask have sized each other up and decided this is going to be the biggest problem. Choose to ignore Mr. Satan, and they jump at each other and they start going for it. And this is where they poured all the budget of this episode in to this little bout between Trunks and Goten fighting 18.
And Master Roshi from the Peanut Gallery, kind of just the way that those two in the potato sack are moving, he knows what's going on. Eventually, they start fighting enough that they start flying up above the stage, and Hercule just literally can't participate, and that's kind of the end of it. They cut away right as it's getting good, honestly. Like I would have loved to see the rest of that fight play out. We don't get it this episode. It cuts back to Debura hanging out in the meditation room. I'm excited to see what Debura can do. I'm excited to see Gohan v Debura. I'm excited to see 18v Mighty Mask. These episodes really were slow paced. Not only were they slow paced as episodes, the point of the episodes was slow pacing. And what I mean by that is there are characters in the episodes at multiple times, both in the Vegeta Gohan Goku group and the World Tournament group, that are waiting for the next thing to happen. They're impatient, saying, hey, bring on the next thing. And so not only do you as an audience member watching the show feel like this is slow going and I just want the next thing to happen, but the characters in this show are doing it too. And so I can't help but feel like it's deliberate in some sense. And I have to give it credit, even though I feel like it fumbled that a little bit, because it's still These episodes are just a little bit more boring than the ones that came before. They're fine, but they are like very straight and narrow, like middle of the road, fine.
Yeah, middle of the road, fine, with some high points. I wouldn't say there's any really low points necessarily. There's some confusion.
There's stuff that doesn't make any goddamn sense, and there are some character moments that I liked. It feels almost deliberate that they wanted the audience to feel like it was slower paced, and the characters inside the show to feel like it was slower paced as well.
Yeah,
and I don't know why. I also don't think it's a great idea because there were parts of these episodes that I just felt a little bored. But they did it.
I'm getting we've entered the maelstrom.
I'm not trying to save the show. I don't doubt that it goes down some kind of rabbit hole that we will follow and regret.
And to be fair, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think at this point they had their hand on the wheel and they knew what they were doing, whether it was a good decision or not. Which I guess we'll find out next time on Arrogate's Dragon Ball Z. I did it that time. Did you like that? You just let it hang.
You took it from me. Well, it's been so goddamn long that I honestly forgot that I was supposed to do it.
Oh, so, that's that. Do you want me to set you up? I can just.
I'm happy it was. No, I mean it was done. It's already finished.
But I clipped so much. The integrity of our podcast, though. But the integrity.
I mean, I don't know, man. Will we preserve our integrity? Will we continue to make high quality content?
Did we ever have integrity?
Did we ever have it? It's something that our fans can only answer next time on Arrogate's Dragon Ball Z.
I feel like you surprised yourself with how much energy you had.
I tried to push it. I really did.
Thank you for listening to Arrogate's Dragon Ball Z. You might hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. If you want to send us feedback or an email or your best pasta recipe or, I don't know, want to shoot the shit, send us information, send us words or pictures. Mail, mail, at ehdbz.com. You can also find us on Twitter at the handle at ArrogatesDBZ. We have an Instagram, and I don't fucking remember what that one's called ever, so...
It's called the Arrogate's Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, that's the name of our show. If you like the content we produce, we have other podcasts. Check us out. The Rocktopus Network is what we are called. We have another... I almost said we have another show called Arrogate's Dragon Ball Z. Wow, what the fuck? I don't know why I fucked that one up. We have one called...
No, that's this show.
That's this show. Oh, another podcast that we work with, that we help produce, is on our network, is called Halloween Nation. You can catch me out on that one. I had a guest role in a thing that they do called Pumpkin Vine Theater.
You did. It was great. I heard it.
Spencer's also on another episode. He plays God. That is true. That's a real thing that happens. I make music. My name is John Good. Burn 7 on SoundCloud. And then I think we throw out a pun.
There's an easy one. I think we both know what it is.
Okay.
We should end this podcast so that I can go pee-pee.
Oh my God.